Lunchables. All right, good afternoon, everybody. It's about 4:20 or so on the 26th of April. I've been over here about a half an hour. I already got some work done. So I'm moving on to fix this ledge real quick just to kind of warm up for the night since I've got grinding and cleaning ahead of me. So I figured I'd do something a little bit more exciting. So already you can see that's a big hole. I got that cut out there. I got the patch ready to go. There's just a magnet underneath there. And then you can barely see maybe a little circle here. There's some blow through there and a little patch right here. I'm just going to try to fill those with weld metal. Probably I'm going to blow through. That's fine. I'll just kind of backfill it. The flange over here, I made that too. That guy is right here. And I broke my cardinal rule of taking the paint off this thing first. But that's the old one, obviously all nasty and thin. The new guy, again, I'm not real concerned about how these look because it's going to be hidden. But I do want it to be protected. So once I get this welded up, I'm going to go ahead and paint the back with POR 15 and then get this piece welded in. I'll do that the opposite way. So that this flange probably won't get welded in today, but just to let the POR cure, but there you go. All right, so I hope you can see that without the glare, but you can probably notice the same kind of damage over here. I got a little pinhole in the crease and some damage on the spot welds. This is the passenger side. So I'm going to repair this just like I did the driver's side, which worked out pretty well, and we'll see how that goes. All right, so I got that piece out, curved and all that goodness, so obviously it's going to be a little bit more complicated of a repair. Here's the original piece down here, if you can see that. And I found a couple more spots right there, right in this corner here. So if you look inside the boot, it looks like it's near that gas tank. Or not the gas tank, but this is a, there's a placard or a board that goes in here. Anyway, so that's obviously going to need to be repaired also. So I think what I'm going to do is probably come in here with a wire brush and go to town cleaning up all this seam sealer and everything, get that all out of here just to see if I'm going to find any other obvious signs of cancer from this side. And yeah, continue on. So a little frustrating, but it's all good. All right, well, except for paint, this guy's done. Lots of pitting underneath here that I didn't catch that had come through. There's still some pitting in there that's probably could use some fill, but I'm just it's not a load bearing part. It's cosmetic and strictly a road stuff, keeper outer for keeping stuff out of the car. So I'm just going to clean it up. You notice I didn't POR 15 it. Like I said I was going to. I think I'm going to try the epoxy on this stuff. It should work just as well, I hope. So that'll be a good test for that. Maybe this will be the first piece I shoot. So that's done. All right, so I got the boot area cleaned up pretty well of seam sealer. I ended up using a heat gun and a hand wire brush instead of trying to use the automatic one just because it fit in there better. And I also used a little bit of lacquer thinner. I know Chef Tush had a little bit of problem with that, but I don't know. And it came off. He used brake fluid cleaner, which is obviously a little bit more caustic, but I didn't have too many problems with the paint thinner, or the lacquer thinner I should say. It came off pretty well for me. So it appears to be that just that spot is the only one that's in bad shape. There's a couple spots like here. You can see like a ripple gaps here in between the spot welds. Well, this at least looks cleaner. I think that's okay. I might bang that a little bit with the hammer, just kind of flatten it out. But now I'm going to pop the car up real quick, drill from underneath and get that little bracket off, and then see how much of a pain in the rear that repair is going to be. All right, so actually it doesn't look like this one's going to be too bad. I'll square off the corner to make the piece easy to make, but 3 spot welds here and then 2 up here. This one in the corner is pretty tight, and it looks like there was like a double spot weld, so it looks like they spot welded from maybe both sides in a couple spots. I don't know. Now I'm just going to cut a square here kind of square it off, and then that should be ready to come out. I think I got all those spot welds broken, so, and we'll see how it looks. So here's that little bracket that was in there, drilled that out. It's not in horrible shape, but the screw broke, so it's definitely seen better days and is corroded pretty badly. So obviously that was holding some water for a while. Funny how the other side was okay. Alright, so as you can see, I kind of got the squared off piece just kind of sitting in there just for fitment. So that's going to work. Still needs some adjustment and everything, but that'll work. So now I'm moving on to building this piece, and this one's tricky because it's got a curve and then you've got the flange there. So whereas normally before I got the shrinker stretcher I would make two pieces here and weld them together, now I'm going to try it with the stretcher in this case. So here's my base piece. Here's the piece that came out of it. I hammered it flat to kind of give me a really rough template. Obviously it's beat up. So essentially this is going to be how that fits in the car, kind of like this. So what I need to do, and I ran through this in my head about 12 times and hopefully it'll work, this portion needs to stretch because I wanted to go like this. So I need to stretch this out, which will cause it to curve in on itself, kind of. So at least that's what I hope. So you really gotta convince yourself that you're doing this right. I must admit that I had the shrinker out first, and so we'll see. Who knows? I might still be wrong. All right. Well, if you can believe that, first try. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. That fits well. Now, when I say fit, I mean curvature. Obviously, the boot floor part here and the flange part are both too thick and too wide. But that's one of the things with these shrinker stretcher, you got to give yourself enough metal to grab onto. So I didn't want to short myself and then not be able to grab anything and waste a piece of metal. So now what I'll do is I'll cut that down, but instead of using I can cut this flat portion here down with scissors, metal shears, but this side I can't because I'm afraid it'll tend to straighten the thing back out as I cut. So I'll be able to go around this line and get that fit in, but this line I'm going to have to either grind down or something. We'll see what happens. Alright, so there's those two pieces. This one I'm really happy with. That just needs some hammering adjustment and welding and paint and all. That'll be ready to go. This guy needs the paint and everything. I'm actually pretty happy with that too. If you can kind of see that the ends kind of bow up into the boot floor a little bit. I'm not quite sure why they're doing that, if it was the stretcher or me or what, but that's, you know, it is what it is. I'm just going to tack it in the center probably and then kind of hammer it down and kind of work my way and essentially make it work. But that's going to be fixed. So in the absence of anything else, I think that may be the last of the cutting out repairs, but we'll see. I'm still got to do a once over with everything as I go through and get all the seam sealer out of there in preparation for paint. But you know, another step closer. So that's it for me for tonight. Thanks everybody for liking. Thanks everybody for watching, and thanks for everybody for subscribing. I just went over 700 subscribers here in the last couple days, so that's awesome. Pretty excited about that. Thanks a lot. This weekend I should be over here for no problem. We'll see how it goes and continue on with getting this boot prepped for paint. Have a good night. Cheers.